Hey everyone, Shane here with RVs of America, or ROA. I'm pretty excited to share something with you today, and it's going to be about this Xplore. If you've been watching our videos, you would have seen that we went out to Wisconsin to meet up with the manufacturer, and we spent over a week in their plant, watching them build trailers, learning about the materials and the products behind the scenes. We wanted to do a few little takes and break down some of this video because potentially it could be hours long, and we wanted to break out some segments and bring some to you on a weekly basis until we get the full tour out in the next month or so. So stay tuned, click subscribe so you'll see that video when it comes out. But in the meantime, I wanted to talk a little bit about the fiberglass. So let's talk a little bit about this fiberglass. It is called a Crane Noble hung fiberglass. When we were down at the manufacturer, I learned a lot about fiberglass. First of all, the owner was showcasing he had a roll of fiberglass, you'll see here in the footage, and it was about the same thickness as my credit card, which is crazy. It's super thin. It's actually a fiberglass infused plastic. And he was actually showing us that that's the most common fiberglass that RVs use industry-wide. Most travel trailers are using that very, very thin fiberglass. And essentially what they do is they take that thin fiberglass and they get an aluminum frame, right? They frame out an aluminum frame. Then they get paneling, that thin plastic fiberglass, and they send it through, it's like a vacuum sealed or like a lamination device, right? And they put foam insulation in between the studs, and essentially what they're doing is they're laminating the whole thing together, and that's kind of like what makes it rigid, but it's very thin. Now, if you go out there and look at some cheap travel trailers and look down the side, you can almost see waves down the side because that fiberglass plastic is so thin that it just doesn't really hold up over time, right? So you see waves in it. If you look down the wall on this unit, you're gonna see it's as straight as an arrow. It's beautiful, it's rigid, and the reason is because this is almost 3 times thicker than that fiberglass that I showed you. So it's pretty thick. Like I said, Crane Noble fiberglass. In the world of fiberglass, if you wanna buy the most expensive stuff, this is what you're gonna buy. You don't typically see this it's not in any travel trailer that I'm aware of, period, across the nation. Nobody puts this on their travel trailers. You can move up into super high-end Newmar, $1 million to $2 million motor coach, and then you might actually start getting this same fiberglass in that type of coach. So it's very premium, very thick. Like I said, 85 mil. And another cool detail about this is it's not painted. So you might say, what's this? Well, it looks painted. It looks like a beautiful painted gel coat. So the paint is actually mixed in with the fiberglass. So when they spray down the resin to make this fiberglass, before they actually mix the paint into it, and then once it solidifies, it becomes this fiberglass. And so it's built all the way through it. So unlike a car or a boat, that has a white fiberglass and then they paint over it, and then if you were to scratch off the paint, you would see the white below that paint. That's not gonna happen with this. You can scratch this and it's just gonna be another layer of this paint. So it's gonna last for years and years to come. And out here in Utah, we actually call them the Rocky Mountain pinstripes. When you go off-roading, those trees scrape your trailer, scrape your truck, and it's gonna be so much easier to repair and fix this and make it look brand new 5 years, 10 years from now. Also, the fading is way, way less likely to happen with this type of fiberglass because that paint is just built into the fiberglass. So you're not gonna have as much fading issues down the road. So really high quality stuff. When we were out in Wisconsin, we actually had Alan and Steve demonstrate to us how you could scratch this and repair it and make it look brand new. So we're gonna go over into Wisconsin and put that clip on here for you right now. So go ahead and take a look at this.
So we're here at Xplore today, and Al's going to show us how to repair your glass exterior on your Xplore RV when you take it off-road and happen to scratch it by accident. And it's very easily repaired. And Al, would you like to give us a little demonstration?
Certainly. So we'll start off with just a light scratch that you can get out with just a buffing pad. I'm just using one on a drill. It's something you can get at the hardware store. And using a buffing compound with an abrasive texture to it. We have 800 grit and 1000 grit. So we'll go ahead and just lightly scratch it. That's pretty light, what you might get from a tree, something like that. And we'll probably just go with 1000 right off the bat.
The bigger grit is going to take more material off.
You always want to be as less aggressive as you can. And as it dries out, just wipe it off and apply more if you have to.
Al, is there any risk that they'd have to worry about when doing this, of damaging anything?
Not with the buffing compound. With a sander, a little bit more. Not with the buffing compound.
Easy peasy.
We're actually using Mirka brand polishing compound, 800 grit and 1000 grit to finish. And a buffing wheel that you can get at any hardware store on a drill. Okay, do we want to do a meaner scratch?
Let's do it. I don't know if
You want to do the honors? Not too rough. I only got 600 grit out here.
Like right in here?
Sure.
Okay, we're going to scratch this glass surface, and we're going to do a more aggressive scratch so we can see a real repair.
That was a good one.
Now Al's going to proceed with a sanding wheel, is that right? Sanding disc?
Sanding disc.
No any kind of chemical at that point?
No chemical at this point.
So this is a situation where you could damage your coach,
Yes, you could over sand and dimple the finish.
but it is color through and through.
Correct. So you have a long ways to go. I'm going to use 600 grit to start. You always want to be as least aggressive as you can be. So that's why I'm starting with 600. You can see the scratch is gone, but the finish is obviously damaged. Now you just have to work it up with higher grits continuously all the way up to 1000. As you can see, the spot keeps getting larger and larger that I'm sanding, and that's just so I'm not sanding in one spot, creating a low spot in the fiberglass. And the final step is just polishing it with the 1000 grit.
Look, you see a scratch?
What scratch?
Right answer.
Did you scratch it
Multiple times.
multiple times?
Yeah, you missed it all.
Just like with a baby scratch, or like you gouging it?
Steve put a pretty good gouge in it.
I don't see anything. Is if there was a scratch on it, I don't know where it would be. That's pretty good. I mean, it's a little dirt.
Yeah, a lot of residue comes off that compound, but you wash it off good, it'll be as good as new.
I don't see anything.
I scratched it and I can't see it.
You don't even know where it's at? Yeah. It looks nice to me. Ready to go camping.
That's right.
The woods are calling.
The woods are calling. Let's go then. Thank you, Alan and Steve, for demonstrating to us how you can scratch this fiberglass, sand it, buff it out, and make it look brand spanking new. That's really cool, because if you get a trailer with aluminum, you know, you get hailstorm and rock chips, that stuff is really, really hard to repair. That thin plastic stuff, well, there's no depth to it to be able to repair. That's what's so cool about this Crane Noble fiberglass, 85 mil, once again. That's pretty incredible. I've never really seen any trailer like that where you can repair it that easily. And if you ever did punch a full hole in through this, it's fiberglass. You can repair fiberglass pretty easily. The maintenance, the longevity of this trailer is really gonna be good. I hope you've liked this. I hope you've learned something. This experience of going out to the factory was really enlightening to me. I learned a lot and I'm excited to share it with you. Stay tuned for more of these cool little nugget videos about Xplore and our factory tour, and hopefully in the next month or so you'll see that full tour of the factory. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and all that good stuff, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.